So I went to WashU Law and I aspired to be a homicide prosecutor in the DC U.S. Attorney's Office. I did 4 different internships at DOJ, kind of structured my life around that goal. And I decided to clerk in DC Superior Court, which is DC's local trial court, during the 2019 to 2020 term, because I knew that DC AUSAs appeared before DC Superior Court judges. I was told by my law school that I would develop a lifelong mentor-mentee relationship with this judge, that this position would confer only professional benefits to me. I was instructed to accept the first clerkship I was offered, so I did. So unfortunately, beginning just weeks into this clerkship, the judge for whom I clerked began to harass me and discriminate against me based on my gender. He would kick me out of the courtroom and tell me I made him uncomfortable and he just felt more comfortable with my male co-clerk. He told me I was aggressive and nasty and a disappointment. The day I found out that I passed the DC bar exam, so big day in my life, he called me into his inner chambers, got in my face and said, "You're bossy, and I know bossy because my wife is bossy." And I was just devastated. I mean, I cried myself to sleep. I cried on the walk to work. I just desperately wanted to be reassigned to a different judge for the rest of the clerkship, but my workplace didn't even have an employee dispute resolution plan that might have enabled that to happen. People told me to stick it out, so I did. And we eventually transitioned to remote work during the pandemic. Moved back to Philly to stay with my family in March of 2020. And the judge basically ignored me for 6 weeks before he called me up in late April and told me he was ending my clerkship early because I made him uncomfortable and lacked respect for him. But he didn't want to get into it. And then he hung up on me. So I called DC Court's HR and they said there was nothing they could do because HR doesn't regulate judges and that judges and law clerks have a unique relationship. And then they asked me, didn't I know that I was an at-will employee? So I reached out to WashU Law, to my alma mater, for support and assistance. And I found out the judge had a history of harassing his clerks, that the law school was aware of this, the clerkships director and several professors at the time I accepted this clerkship, and they decided to withhold that information from me. So it took me about a year to get back on my feet, eventually secured my dream job in the DC U.S. Attorney's Office as a prosecutor. I moved back to DC in the summer of 2021, and in July, I was 2 weeks into training at the USAO. I'd already started working there, and I got a call that altered the course of my life. I was told the judge had made negative statements about me during my background investigation, that I wouldn't be able to obtain a security clearance, and that my job offer was being revoked. A couple days later, the USAO extended an offer for a different job to interview for that, and that position was also revoked based on the judge's same negative reference. I was 2 years into my legal career, and this judge just seemed to have limitless power to destroy my reputation and ruin my career. So that's when I filed a judicial complaint with the DC Commission on Judicial Disabilities and Tenure. That's the regulatory body for DC judges. Filed that complaint, hired attorneys, and in the summer and fall of 2021, I participated into the investigation into the now former judge. We were partway through that investigation when I found out the judge was on administrative leave, pending an investigation into other misconduct. At the time he filed the negative reference about me, but the USAO was not alerted of that. And pursuant to the terms of our private settlement agreement in January 2022, the judge made a clarifying statement to the USAO, addressing some but not all of his outrageous claims about me. But by then, it was too late, it had been too long, and the damage had been done, and I am basically blackballed from what I thought was my dream job.